pure sciences are more valued than applied sciences. In our case, it's more. To get a physics degree is difficult. A BSc physics is more tough, or biology is more tough than getting an applied degree, and it is regarded very high. You see all the great scientists there. So much of it came from Britain and from France and other countries, Europe. So their fundamental disciplines are valued more. The result was that I was exposed for the first time other than engineering discipline, other than engineering studies, because engineering means exams, and then you study and labs and practicals and all those things. But there is a lab, there is a great lab. Maharaja Sahaj University is a great thing, that the universities are known by their libraries. Now, of course, the library is internally is the library, but at that time, library, and you had a great library there, the arts faculty. It was a very Swami Aurobindo and many people, really great people, really studied there. In the thing, used to use that library, and that library has thousands and thousands of books, a huge, beautiful library. And you go there, and you see students from all faculties, fine arts and music, philosophy, history, and I had that occasion. I think that love for books, which I think was generated to me from my mother. I remember my mother, when she came to village, what to do, and she used to cook, and there were a lot of things, smoke and all that. She would have a book in front of her, a reading thing, and she will cook. So that habit I also developed while eating, while read the books. We don't read books today. We don't go to libraries. Even if that can be, everything is available on the internet, but just see the classics, just see the books, just see the things like that, how they write, how they think the authors, some of the standard textbooks, which are how difficult to create those kind of textbooks, because then how to write well, read those books, touch those books, I would feel. So there I really was fascinated to this one. Then I saw that electrical engineering or electronics is one kind of discipline. There are thousands of branches of learning. It's like a tree, whole banyan tree. You see everywhere, then the branches, and it again branches, and there are so many leaves of the thing. In Indian context, the knowledge is always by like a banyan tree. So many things you see. And they are not, they are related to each other. I would say that in computer science, when I said that I want to study computer science, and I would go to some books like that, and somebody refers to Alan Turing, the Turing machine, and you go to that kind of thing, who was Alan Turing? And you want to look at some encyclopedia, look at his life, his tragedy, and then at that time what was happening. Or you see, go back to the days when Bull was creating logic, Charles Bull, and the Boolean algebra. How did he get that idea? What was happening at that time? At that time, Louis Pasteur was doing something in France, and I think trying to see that how the wines are actually made, and of course that led to a discovery of the vaccines, all that thing. And you see many things from one to another, to the history, to geography, to where is France, where is Germany, where was this created. So it is not just that thing, but how it was created. People still read Feynman's lecture, and he talks about it. And teachers make this very fascinating journey. How this came about, how this came out, how this happened accident, that was how the problems he faced, how he was ostracized, how this kind of thing, how Einstein was not allowed to do something by the Germans and British. The background of World War II, all that kind of thing, the history, geography, the sin, the social impacts, what social life was there, things like that. So you come to know many things. So it's not just that particular topic, and which I am to somehow finish this one, but whichever the topics interest you, you must, and that's you love that things if you really read it with that quest for knowledge, quest for understanding. That I developed at really in the MS University. Thanks to that discipline studies, that you attend to a music concert, you go to this kind of thing, somebody gives a great philosophical lecture, somebody talks about his experiences in sculpting, and that was a thing which opened totally new life for me. I must say at this point of thing, this is the first time I saw MS University that there was a common hostel for girls and boys. This is which cannot be imaginable at that time, but MS University, many boys coming from Kenya and Africa, because the Gujaratis, many people coming from that, and there was a thing like that, a hostel which is partition, but first time co-education like that, which most universities even today would not have. We had done some experiment here also on that kind of thing. So this was another opening for me, that this can be, we have that open studies, open issues, and go to your hotels or go to the restaurant and study there. Somebody will take you to some place and work together with the teachers in the garden. So this is a new thing which I think I changed my life completely. I looked at knowledge very differently from that day onwards. And of course, there was a lot of idealism at that time. So MS University was a turning point. Then I wanted to do my research. I had a problem. That was a problem of studies. I would say at this time, my mother played a very important role. And this is also very inspiring for me. That at that time, I did finish my ME and I was a topper. And there was a scheme for MSCB had come that they want to select in the toppers for directly recruiting as an executive engineer. Just directly recruit as an executive engineer. And I got selected. The 7 students I got selected. And everybody was something like that. My teachers also very joyous. You become an executive engineer. You start with assistant engineer that time. And you become an executive engineer immediately after your postgraduate. But I had a dilemma. And there was the economic condition was not good because brothers and sisters have to be studied. And of course, everybody is struggling with the whole thing. And I had to think now, I take a job or I go for higher studies. I go for higher studies. And I didn't know, I had a dilemma that I must go for higher studies. Somehow I felt, though the economic condition was not so good in the family, most families, not only mine, was not so good at that time. And but I had this strong thing. I wrote a letter, typical letter I wrote to my mother, and she replied back that listen to your inner voice. I would like you to study. I would like it. Don't worry about anything. Just I would like you to study and take that thing. And if you feel strongly, don't think anything else. Go for higher study. Job is not important. Now, that is what was a great inspiration for me, that got strength, that my mother is saying this. And I took that plunge. I went to IIT Delhi for PhD. And first time I saw an IIT, I thought how that IITs will be created, how the great institutions were created by Pandit Nehru when India was going hungry. I must say that. These institutions have been created when India had no food to eat. IIT, all the IITs. See the vision of that Prime Minister when they have nothing to feed. You don't have college, we don't have schools, but we must create. But he has seen the world. He had seen when the UK, France, he had seen Russia. He was very impressed by Moscow State University. With him, we collaborated with huge university like that. And he said we must have institutes of that kind with maybe foreign collaborations, and all the IITs were set up at that time, the 60s onwards. And today we have the great issue. And today we still struggle to take a decision. Maharashtra government, for example, to create not taking a decision on the triple IT. This was the thing for us, not taking a decision on the triple IT. Maharashtra is a prosperous state. Things like that. People do not dare to create new institutions. Even today, when India is a very prosperous country in that sense. So at that time, those things, I saw the IIT, I studied there for my PhD. And at that PhD level, I think one change which occurred in me was that I was an engineer, I was engineering disciplines, but I was interested more, and think at that time one new discipline has come which is not being taught, which I'm insisting now to the thing which we missed out, is the disciplines of systems engineering. The new discipline of systems engineering had come. At that time, control theory, of course, all the results of that look at a system, don't look at a mechanical system or a structural system or electrical systems or biological system, even a social system, look at as a system, because they have common characters. They have some states. If you look at anything like that, just isolate as a black box. You have anything like that. You can see, of course, the Laplace transforms and that transfer function and all that. But system is there. There are system as variables, temperature, pressure, flow, all those kind of any variables they could be. They could be biological parameters, social parameters, and they have dynamics. They are completely evolving with respect to time and space. And they have some initial conditions, and we want to drive them into certain conditions. Always.